Holy shit.
You inherit too much power. You have proven you can rule yourself. Now you must learn to rule others. Something none of your ancestors learned.
My father rules an entire planet.
He's losing it.
He's getting a richer one.
He'll lose that one too.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my channel and time for another episode of Luke's Reviews. On today's video, I'm going to be talking about one of the most anticipated films of the past few years, and a film that we're wondering, will it live up to the stratospherically high expectations? This is my review of Dune. Set thousands of years into the future, the galaxy is split into houses, each with their own planet and mission, all serving the mysterious Emperor. House Atreides currently resides on Caladan until it is decreed that they will now take up residence on Arrakis, harvesting the very valuable material known as spice. In doing so, they have to be wary of House Harkonnen, the previous residents who will stop at nothing to claim that planet back, as well as the indigenous people of Arrakis, the Fremen. Stuck in the middle is Paul, son of Duke Leto Atreides, who is struggling to come to terms with new powers he is developing, and the talk of a prophecy where he could be the chosen one to unite their houses. Spank my ass and call me Shirley, Denis Villeneuve did not come to play. I love this film, I loved it. I decided to go into Dune blind. I stayed away from Frank Herbert's original novels. I didn't even watch David Lynch's original film, mostly because I heard it was a bit crap, but also because I wanted to know as little as possible, because I had full faith that Villeneuve would bring this epic story to life in the best way possible. And he really did not disappoint. Now it is worth noting that, well, for anyone unaware, Dune is only half of this story. Dune Part 2 has now actually officially been confirmed, so that's great. But what that means is that not everything is answered. Some of the character arcs aren't resolved. I mean, look, I would have been more than happy to sit through a 6-hour film. Wouldn't have any complaints from me, but it is what it is. And like any kind of expansive sci-fi, you need to dedicate a chunk of your runtime to world building. But the trick is ensuring that you're not spoon-feeding your audience exposition. The world building of Dune is totally fascinating because Villeneuve deliberately never shows his hand. It's all purposefully paced. There's never a moment where a character goes, oh, look, here is the entire history and information that you will all need for the Bene Gesserit, because we get what we need in that moment and we're left wanting more for hopefully future installments to then explore. All of the houses and the conflict between them, it definitely draws comparisons to something like a Game of Thrones, but Villeneuve does more than enough to keep it different, but yet equally enthralling and compelling. I mean, the dynamic of, like, just House Atreides on its own, I could have easily just spent hours on Caladan exploring and learning. And what Villeneuve does best is that he balances this political intrigue and tension alongside one almighty cinematic spectacle, the likes of which I honestly feel like we haven't seen in decades. Villeneuve presents size and scale like no director does today. The man's a visionary. I think the closest that perhaps anyone has ever come is Stanley Kubrick when he directed 2001: A Space Odyssey. I got a lot of vibes from that. That's definitely not a bad thing. Watching the enormity of everything, the ships, the planets, the cities, I mean, in the wrong hands, easily it could have been overwhelming. But Villeneuve's hands are very capable, and you are just in awe of everything you see. Greg Fraser brings this world to life in the most spectacular way imaginable. The way in which he uses his cinematography to merge visual effects alongside practical filmmaking I mean, it's done in the most seamless way possible. And the same goes for the amazing production design too, from the city strongholds of Caladan to the vast wastelands of Arrakis to the really, really cool spacecraft. The designs have so much detail to them that you're picking up on small little tidbits from every nook and cranny, which just enhances this world even more. It really goes to show how much care and attention the filmmakers put into bringing this world to life. And I beg you, if you can, go and experience this in IMAX. Personally, I don't think I've ever seen a filmmaker utilize IMAX as well as this since perhaps I saw Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk in IMAX. I mean, to give you an idea, that transports you to the beaches of Normandy. Villeneuve is transporting you light years into space. It's incredible. Speaking of being transported, there's another guy who helps with that, a slightly lesser known name, Hans Zimmer? How is it possible, given the storied career that Hans Zimmer already has, that he is continually able to best himself? This is comfortably the best score I've heard from him since probably Interstellar. That Oscar is in the bag, no doubt. He merges so many different musical stylings together that on paper just sound like he's plucked them out of a lucky dip, but in the context of the film, it is just this beautiful cacophony of sounds. I mean, who knew that bagpipes, chanting, and the bass cranked up to 11 could make for the best film score of the year? But we've only discussed the technical accomplishments, which retrospectively is just one half of the story. The other half, well, it's the story. Dune is often heralded as the Bible of science fiction story. It's influenced so many other properties, including Star Wars. So with that in mind, seeing this story take shape and the little flex that you can tell other properties have pinched from, I mean, look, as the uber sci-fi fan that I am, I was definitely satisfied. It does take some going to get the wheels in motion, but in doing so, you get to spend some great time with a brilliant ensemble. And then, in the final hour, we finally put our foot to the floor, and it just becomes an all-out race for survival. Timothée Chalamet is a superstar as Paul. I never thought I'd be sat here telling you that he's a really, really good action star. But he is, and he's so damn captivating and charismatic as Paul, a character who, let's face it, he could have come across as pretty bland or uninteresting. Rebecca Ferguson was electric as Lady Jessica. She's a character who is clearly holding in so many secrets, and Ferguson keeps the lid on through steely determination and total passion. Jason Momoa as Duncan Idaho, which might just be the coolest name in sci-fi since Han Solo, is the badass we'd hoped he'd be. Oscar Isaac and Josh Brolin are two commanding presences that own every single second of screen time, especially with Isaac, because I think the film doesn't succeed as well when it comes to emotion, but one of the best and most emotional parts of the film is the relationship between Oscar Isaac and his son Paul. And for those expecting a lot of Zendaya, don't. I mean, the marketing's kind of been telling fibs. She's not in the movie a great deal. Her moments are very fleeting, although, trust me when I say, she's going to come to play in Part 2. Dune Part 1, to give it its proper title, is the sci-fi extravaganza that we have been hoping for, and feels like a generational kind of cinematic spectacle. Denis Villeneuve directs the absolute shit out of every single minute, transporting audiences to the deserts of Arrakis and beyond. It's a deliberate slow burn, needed to craft this world together, but as time ticks on, Dune assembles into a mesmerizing experience needed to be seen on the big screen. And if this is Part 1, Part 2 might just set the standard for cinematic blockbusters. So I'm going to give Dune a 9.5 out of 10. Desert power, baby! Anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on Dune. Let me know, have you had a chance to see the film yet? What did you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And my question to you, there's plenty to choose from, but who was your favourite character in Dune? At the moment, only going off of the first watch, I'm torn between 3. I thought Paul was fascinating. I'm totally invested to see where the character of Lady Jessica winds up, and Duncan Idaho is a friggin' badass. But as always, thank you ever so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. What should I do? That's the Dune thing. Hey, I'm out. Bye. Hello, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure to click that like button, and if you aren't already, click that subscribe button too.